Bellator is back this week from Paris, France, and the main event for the Bellator Heavyweight Championship of the World is the rematch between Ryan Darth Bader and Cheick Kongo. Yes, a 46-year-old Cheick Kongo, I think that's how old he is, gets another shot at the World Championship against Bader. Obviously, their first fight ended in the eye poke. That really wasn't an eye poke. Looked like Kongo wanted a way out. But anyways, Kongo gets his second shot at Bader, and now he is at home in Paris, France. And also, Yoel Romero returns to the Bellator cage. He'll be taking on Alex Easy Polizzi on short notice. Polizzi steps in the co-main event. And folks, if you haven't yet, make sure that subscribe button down below for some MMA here on the channel. We posted UFC yesterday. PFL coming out later today as well, so make sure that subscribe button too, as we are officially on the road to 10,000 subscribers. And I'll be honest with you, since this is a Bellator card and a lot of the undercard fights are between fighters from, who aren't on the Bellator roster, but they get them from regional promotions in whatever city that they're in or country that they're in, and they get them to find the undercard, and they're usually guys who have very limited experience in Bellator or no experience at all in Bellator. And when Bellator is in the USA, like, I know most of the regional guys, or at least I know some of them, and I know the promotions they fought in, and I can have access to those fights through Fight Pass and whatnot. If you haven't fought in Aries, I really don't know the regional guys in France. I'll keep it a buck with you. I don't think many people know who the regional guys are in France. Like, I'll give you my best insight on what these guys could be, but a lot of these, just look for the favorites and hope they win. Don't put your money on it, because again, you don't know how good these regional guys are from France, because you can't test, I don't know how good a certain promotion is in France compared to what it is in the US. LFA is the top regional promotion in the US, while Titan FC is kind of a Mickey Mouse promotion where they just feed guys against cans, right? You don't know how it is in France unless the guys, fought in Aries, which is a credible promotion, obviously, in France. But yeah, so your first fight, we got Victor and Kamara. I'm going to be taking Victor by decision. He comes in this fight with a record of 5-1. I think he's all around better. I think he'll win. And then we're going to take Youssef in the second fight over Mathieu. Youssef's undefeated. He's 2-0, hasn't lost yet, but he hasn't fought in 3 years, which is concerning to say the least. His opponent is 2-1 in Mathieu. I'll take, Youssef. Again, he hasn't fought in 3 years, which is a little bit concerning. His opponent's 2-1. He won a month ago and then 9 months before. I don't know. I'm going to take Youssef by a second round KO. Katarzyna Sedura has fought before in Bellator. She's not bad. I think she'll win this fight over Lucy by unanimous decision. She won just in Bellator 6 months ago with ground and pound. The record's kind of salty, 5-4, but she's not bad. I think she'll win this one by unanimous decision. And then our final fight out of the first four, we've got Nico Soli taking on Joel. Joel started his career I think it was 1-8, and now he's 7-8. So kind of a really weird turnaround for him. He is on a 6-fight winning streak after starting his career with, again, a terrible record 1-8, so he has bounced back. As for Soli, he is on, of course, a 2-fight winless streak. He won early in his Bellator career, and then he lost to George Hardwick in his last, or 2 fights ago, and then he lost to he had a split draw against Bobby Pallett in his last fight in Bellator 5 months ago. But Soli's a guy who's actually fought in Bellator before. Joel has built together 6 straight wins since starting his career 1-8, but still, I'm not taking a guy who's 7-8 over a guy who has fought twice before in the Bellator cage. Gonna be taking Nicolo Soli, I think I said Nico earlier, but Nicolo Soli, I think he's gonna win this one by decision. So now on to our individual fight predictions. You got Pedro Carvalho taking on Piotr here. Tricky fight for Carvalho, I think it is. Especially when you look at his opponent, he is the Babylon MMA champion. Of course, at featherweight, he's coming off a knockout finish in the second round to win the vacant championship over at 155 pounds, not 145. He's dropping down 145 for this fight to take on Carvalho. But yeah, you're looking at Piotr here and Carvalho's opponent. A lot of good finishes by knockout, early finishes as well. He's a fast starter that can go for the knockout very quickly. He does have some good submission skills as well. But you look at a guy like Carvalho, though. Again, I know he's 1-2 in his last 3, but look at his losses. It's Patricio Pitbull and it's JJ Wilson. He came back, he beat White in his last fight by unanimous decision in November of last year. I think this is a levels fight. I truly think it is. I think Carvalho, even though I don't think he's the greatest, honestly, and he really hasn't been great since the Pitbull. He lose to Pitbull, and you knew what was going to happen in that fight, though. Pitbull picked Carvalho in the tournament for a reason. He loses to JJ Wilson, and he beats White. Still, I think Carvalho is good enough to beat Piotr here. Again, if Carvalho can, mix it up on the feet and on the ground, I think he does have an advantage on the ground as long as he doesn't get caught in a submission, he doesn't get knocked out of early. I think Carvalho should be able to dictate where this fight does end up, and I'm going to go with Pedro Carvalho to win this fight over Piotr by unanimous decision. Next up, we've got the undefeated Frenchman and Fabakary Diatta, and he's going to be taking on Jordan Barton in this one. This fight is a classic Bellator fight. It's set up for Diatta to win. He's undefeated. He's 8-0. So far in the Bellator cage, he's 2-0. He comes in, beats Dominic Wooding in his first fight in the Euro Series in France. He wins the fight by unanimous decision. That's a fight really impressive at Diatta. I mean, he mixes up his striking with his wrestling in that fight. In the third round, really goes back to that wrestling heavy game plan, but in the first and second, really striking a lot with Wooding, winning the fight by unanimous decision. And then he beats Nathan Rose in his fight after that in Bellator. He's a huge favorite going to that one, beats him by unanimous decision. Now he gets Jordan Barton, a guy who just got subbed in his last fight in Bellator over, he lost to Syrian Clark, losing in the third round by rear naked choke. And before that, he was 6-1-1 outside the Bellator cage. But I mean, I think Diatta's better on the feet. I think if Diatta's got to get this one on the ground, I think he will be able to. I think he'll have advantage down there. If Syrian Clark can submit Jordan Barton, I don't know if, Diatta's going to be the guy that's going to be able to submit him as well, because, Syrian Clark in his own right is a pretty good ground fighter. But I think Diatta's going to be able to keep his top positioning once he gets to the ground, and on the feet, I think he's just going to be able to outstrike Barton. Again, it's a classic Bellator setup fight, going with Fabakary Diatta to beat Jordan Barton by unanimous decision. Next up, we've got Lewis Long taking on Thibaut Gouti. Obviously, Gouti, the former UFC fighter, wasn't great in the UFC. I mean, he went 1-4, I think. He comes in, actually goes 1-5, because he comes in, he loses to David Tamor on the Ultimate Fighter season, picks up a win outside the UFC, comes in, loses 3 straight fights, then gets a win over Andrew Holbrook, and then loses to Sage Northcutt, loses to Nasrat Haqparast, and then gets cut from the UFC. And then since then, he came back, won 2 fights in 2021, and then came back in 2022, winning a fight by ground and pound in the first round. Now Gouti gets a shot here in Bellator, and he's taking on Lewis Long, a fighter who is very good. He's on a 2-fight winning streak in Bellator, and the guy's got tremendous grappling. I mean, he's a grappler at heart. I know he got knocked out by Oliver Enkamp in his first fight in Bellator, or second fight in Bellator back in 2020. But other than that, he's got 3 submission wins in Bellator, 3 of them all in the first round. Coming to rear naked choke his first one, second one with a knee bar in 2 minutes, and the third one with a rear naked choke in the first round. I don't think he's gonna have too many problems with Gouti, considering that Gouti in the UFC, he was submitted 2 straight times in the UFC. Most notably the one against Olivier Aubin Mercier in Ottawa. I remember that one. He got subbed in the third round. So I mean, yeah, if those guys are able to do that to Gouti, I think Lewis Long should be able to as well. I think it's gonna take him a little more time. I'm gonna go second round submission for Lewis Long. I think he will see a second round for the first time in any of his fights in Bellator, because even when he got knocked out in the first round. So I think it will be his first second round in Bellator. Second round submission for Lewis Long, submitting the former UFC fighter in Thibaut Gouti. Next up, we have got Gregory Babene taking on Mike Shipman. For Shipman, he's been fighting Bellator for a very long time now. I mean, he made his Bellator debut back in, 2016 at Bellator 158, beating Dominic Clark by anaconda choke in the first round. He's been around for a minute, but he did have 2 straight losses. The most notable one to Fabian Edwards late in 2019, losing at Bellator 11 by split decision. He's taking on Gregory Babene here. And for Babene, obviously fought in Bellator 2. He has a win over Emiliano Sordi. He's got a couple wins in Bellator. He took on a guy who was 1-4, I do believe. Yeah, Tony Zenko in 2017. He fought in Aries once, winning by triangle choke in the second round there. And then he fought in Hexagon MMA, won by guillotine choke in 2021. Now coming back to Bellator here, taking on Mike Shipman. And for Babene, obviously, a good grappler. I mean, the guy's got a lot of submission wins. He's got 12 wins by submission. He's been fighting for a very long time now, making his professional debut all the way back in 2004 in a Hungary regional fight. So the guy's been fighting for a while. He's taken on some of the, I wouldn't say some of the best guys, but just he's taken on a lot of tough opponents in his career. For Shipman, again, a guy who has been around Bellator for a minute as well. I mean, I think Shipman's good on the ground, but I would give the advantage to Babene down there. His wrestling is very strong guy. He's got a lot of good takedowns. You saw in his Aries fight, big slams out of Babene. If he's able to get this fight on the ground, he should have the advantage down there on the feet. I do like Shipman over Babene, but I'm going to take Gregory Babene to go in here. I think he's going to get a takedown. I think he'll be able to control Shipman on the ground, eventually sink in a choke in the first round. I think Gregory Babene comes in here, first round submission, picks up a huge win. He is 38 years old, but I think he will get that, get another win in Bellator here by beating Mike Shipman by first round submission. And Lorenz Larkin is back, and he'll be taking on Kyle Stewart this time around. For Kyle Stewart, picking up a huge win over Zach Otto in his last fight in XMMA 4, winning that one by unanimous decision. He traded wins and losses outside the UFC after getting cut from the promotion after losing to Eric Koch back by unanimous decision at UFC 240. So he Since then, he wins an LFA, wins a fight over there, loses to Chris Curtis on the first XMMA card by ground and pound in the 3rd round, picks up win in Cage Wars, loses in CFFC to Nishan Burrell, and then beats Zach Otto most recently in XMMA, where he was, I believe he was an underdog in that one. He's taken on Lorenz Larkin, who just keeps on winning. Larkin hasn't lost a fight now since 2017. He is on a 5-fight winning streak, and Lorenz Larkin has just been the decision machine recently. I mean, like, he's like an Andrei Arlovsky now. I mean, Larkin just keeps on winning by decision. The guy's been around for a while, made his pro debut back in 2009, held the guy fought in Strikeforce. The guy holds a win over Robbie Lawler back in Strikeforce in 2012. Obviously, the UFC run for Lorenz Larkin didn't go all that well. Traded wins and losses. Does have 3 wins over Santiago Ponzinibbio, Jorge Masvidal, and Neil Magny, which do stand out, but then he got cut from the promotion. Or I believe, did he just leave? I'm not completely sure on Larkin's exit from the UFC, but I knew he came into Bellator, fought Douglas Lima for the World Championship, lost to Paul Daly, and he's been struggling to get back ever since, but he has not lost a fight since he lost to Daly back in 2017. It just feels like another fight that Lorenz Larkin should be able to win and should be able to win pretty easily. I think this one easier fights to pick on the entire card, Lorenz Larkin beats Kyle Stewart by unanimous decision. I don't think he has too many problems, keeps it on the feet, technically outstrikes him for 3 rounds. Lorenz Larkin picks up his 24th win in his career. So if you don't know who Soren Bach is, he's one of the best prospects in the sport right now. I mean, he is 29 years old, but he's only got 1 loss in his entire career. It comes with a quick knockout loss back in 2016. If you're high on Paddy the Baddy, yeah, Soren Bach beat Paddy the Baddy for the Cage Warriors Championship back in 2018. Beats him by unanimous decision. The guy hasn't lost in a while. I mean, defended the interim champion. He went down, he got the interim championship at Cage Warriors, and he gets signed by Bellator. He's 2-0 so far, beating Terry Brazier and then beating Bobby Lee most recently by unanimous decision. The guy is still undefeated in Bellator. Again, he's only got 1 pro loss, and it was a quick knockout. The guy is very good. Soren Bach is going to be one of these guys, especially at 155, that might be able to eventually make a run here at Bellator at the 55-pound division. We'll see, though. Again, we'll see. With the champion, of course, being Patricky Pitbull, and we'll see where the future of that division does go. But he's taking on Charlie Leary. This fight, by the way, is at a catch weight of 160. Charlie Leary does not stand a single chance. He just lost to Bellator 275 to Davy Gallon. That was at the card. I think that was the Vanderford card, if I'm not mistaken. It was Vanderford and Musasi. Yes, it was. He loses the fight. He gets knocked down in the 2nd round. Leary's traded wins and losses so far in Bellator. They know what they're doing right now by putting him up against Soren Bach. It gets Soren Bach another win against the guy who does have some fights in Bellator. But when you look at Charlie Leary, again, he's 39 years old. He's 17-12-1. Soren Bach is the reason I think he's the biggest favorite on this entire card. He's going to come in here. He's going to submit Charlie Leary. I do think he's finally going to get that first finish in Bellator. Going 2nd round sub for Soren Bach. Again, if you haven't seen this guy, go watch him. He has a win. I mean, he beat Paddy the Baddy for the Cage Warriors Championship when it was vacant over there at 155. The guy's very good. Like Soren Bach to beat Charlie Leary by 2nd round submission and keep the hype train rolling. Next up, Yves Landu taking on Gavin Hughes. If you know who Landu is, it's because of that big flying knee knockout. Back in 2020 at Bellator 248. Yeah, it's a pretty insane knockout, it is, but he's 1-1 in the promotion. They gave him Tim Wilde in his last fight. He loses by unanimous decision. But Landu is going to throw a lot of heavy strikes, and he's going to throw a lot of punches and bunches. He's going to throw a lot of heavy stuff like he did with the flying knee finish in the 1st round back at Bellator 248. He's going to come out. He's going to be explosive. He's going to try to put away Hughes in the 1st round. If he can't in the 1st round, though, I think Hughes is going to slowly take over. Gavin Hughes is very good on the ground. If he's able to drag this one down, he should have a good advantage in this one. Landu is good on the ground, but he's good on top. On the ground, he's not the greatest, and especially if you have a guy like Gavin Hughes on top against Landu, it is going to give Landu a little bit of problems, I do think. And I think Gavin Hughes will start to take over after this fight has progressed after the 1st round. Hughes is 1-1 in Bellator, just like Landu is, losing his last fight in Bellator to Daniel Skatizi. And Skatizi isn't a bad guy. I know he just lost to Vladimir Tokov in his last fight, but Skatizi isn't, the worst. But Hughes does lose by guillotine choke in the 1st round. It's probably Skatizi's best win, honestly, for being real, but I think Hughes should be able to beat Landu as long as he doesn't get caught with a big shot in the 1st round, like Landu did land the flying knee over Terry back in 2020. As long as that doesn't happen to Hughes, I think he should be able to win. He should be able to weather the storm. Landu does throw a lot of crazy stuff out there, but again, I think Hughes will especially start to take over in the 2 lighter rounds of this fight, going Gavin Hughes to win this one by unanimous decision. I think this is the toughest fight to pick on the entire card because I don't know what Yoel Romero we're going to get, because Romero's 45 years old. He's very old now at this point of his career. He loses to Phil Davis, and is Alex Easy Polizzi better than Phil Davis right now? I don't think so. But he looked damn good in his last fight, beating Jose Augusto. I mean, that was a tremendous fight, Bellator 276. That was just 2 months ago. He submits Augusto in the 3rd round. Before that, he beats Grant Neal. I mean, he does have that one loss to Julius Iglesias, but still, Polizzi's really good. I mean, I think highly of Alex Easy Polizzi. It's a very tough test for Yoel Romero. It truly is. Now, Polizzi's taking this one on short notice. He's going to have to go all the way to France, short notice to take on Romero. I think he just took the fight yesterday. I don't know what Yoel Romero we're going to get because he has the split decision to Phil Davis. But my thing okay, I'm picking Yoel Romero by decision. I think he should be able to win. I'm confident in the sense that I don't think Polizzi is going to be able to take down Romero. Obviously, we know Romero's wrestling is very good. I think he should be able to keep the fight on the feet. If he keeps the fight on the feet, I don't think he's going to have too many problems because I think he's a better striker than Polizzi. Obviously, Polizzi is very dependent on that wrestling base. So if Romero can keep it on the feet, I think he should be able to win. But then there's just the world where Romero is completely over the hill now, and Polizzi is able to take him down and just hold him down for 3 rounds, and he beats him, or he eventually submits him. I'm not confident in a 45-year-old Yoel Romero anymore. I'm not. I can't beat the guy's old. I don't know where he's at anymore, even though I know the Phil Davis fight was just, 6 months ago? Still, when you turn 45, you're getting up there in age. I'm going to take the soldier of God in Yoel Romero. I think he should be able to barely win. I'm not confident at all, but I say Romero keeps it on the feet, and he offers a lot that Polizzi hasn't seen on the feet just yet. I don't know if the volume's going to be all there with Romero, but I think he'll just do barely enough to beat Alex Polizzi on the feet. Unanimous decision for Yoel Romero, officially entering himself in the win column in the Bellator record books. Main event time for the Bellator Heavyweight Championship. We've got Ryan Bader taking on Cheick Kongo. So you know the first fight, Bader, kind of touches Kongo a little bit. Kongo kind of feels the power. Bader takes him down. He's working a little bit of back up against the fence. They're both in that seated position. And then Bader kind of doesn't really poke him in the eye, like kind of pokes him in the nose. And then Kongo's like, oh, my eye, and I can't see. And oh, fight over. And it gets stopped. And that's the main event. And then Kongo, since then, hasn't done much to deserve a title shot. I mean, he loses to Tim Johnson in a close fight that you can make the case he won. And then he beat Sergey in his last fight. And now here you go, he's got a championship fight. But my goodness, he almost died after the Sergey fight. Because he gets the rear naked choke with 1 second to go in the second round. By the way, that card was just randomly in South Dakota. But he gets the choke. And then he's just on the ground. And he's on the ground for 5 minutes. Because if he didn't get the choke, it would have been fight over. Sergey would have won by doctor stoppage. Because corner stoppage. Kongo was not coming out for the 3rd round. He was so gassed. But he barely got a rear naked choke off with 1 second left. It was a horrible fight, but it's kind of interesting at the same time. Just that makes me not feel good about Cheick Kongo in this fight, and I think that's why Ryan Bader will win. Now, Kongo does have an opportunity. I think Kongo does have an opportunity to win this one, considering Bader just fought less than 3 months ago, and Ryan Bader's chin at this point of his career is not very good, and that's why I was tempted to take Kongo by miracle first-round knockout, considering this fight is in France, and what Cheick Kongo will always have is that knockout power. He will have power like he put away, Johnson. I mean, he's got some power. Cheick Kongo still does have some power at this point of his career. Now, he does win by decision a lot, but he does still have knockout wins recently, unlike what Dominic Cruz said on the broadcast by Andrei Arlovsky this last Saturday. But anyways, Kongo's always gonna have the puncher's chance. I think especially it does come true in this one because of Ryan Bader just fighting 3 months ago. And he did go 5 rounds with, of course, the #1 contender and the interim champion in Vatin Modavolsky. He wins it by unanimous decision, winning the later rounds in that fight. Good win for Bader. I didn't think he was gonna win, but he gets it done. I mean, you could talk about his fights at light heavyweight with Corey Anderson getting knocked down in the 1st round. That's cool and all, but heavyweight Darth Ryan Bader is just a different animal, I think. Just because I think the heavyweights at Bellator aren't as good as the light heavyweights are, definitely. And Corey Anderson's the best Bellator light heavyweight by far right now. I think he's going to beat Nemkov in the rematch for sure. But yeah, I got to take Ryan Bader. I want to pick Kongo with that big knockout in the 1st round where he pulls off the upset. And let's be real, that's the only chance Kongo's got to win this one. But I think Bader is going to use his wrestling early in this fight. He should be able to take down Kongo, hold him down, make Kongo tired in those first 2 rounds, and I think he's going to gas in the 3rd like he was going to do in the Sergey fight. Kongo deep into fights is very concerning. I think Bader's going to use the wrestling early. He'll be able to take down Kongo, hold him down, make Kongo have to work up and bring him back down again. Again, Kongo's going to tire very quickly in this fight. I think Ryan Bader's going to win the 3rd round by TKO. I think you're going to see a takedown in the 3rd, ground and pound. Ryan Bader is still your world champion. Bring on the rematch with Fedor Emelianenko, because Fedor is definitely fighting the winner. Imagine if Fedor fought Cheick Kongo, though. That would be nuts. You'd have a 46-year-old Cheick Kongo versus a 48-year-old Fedor Emelianenko? Fedor's 45. Never mind. Cheick Kongo's older. Oh my goodness. Please give me that fight up next. But we got Ryan Bader, even though I'm going to be pulling for Cheick Kongo to finally break through and win a world championship. But we're going Bader by 3rd round TKO. I just don't think Kongo's going to be able to I don't think Kongo's going to be able to keep up with what Bader will offer him. But folks, that'll do it for our Bellator 280 predictions video here on the channel, of course, from Paris, France. If you have not yet, make sure that subscribe button down below for more. Be on the lookout for our PFL predictions coming out later tonight as well. Thank you for watching, folks. Make sure to like if you enjoyed the video. Hit that subscribe button too, as we are officially on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Thank you for watching, and Mamba forever.